South Africa. It's a region of South Africa. So basically, the difference between the mid-Kalahari meerkats and these ones, even though they're not different species, is kind of their colour and their shape. So these guys are a lot more squat. I don't want to call them chubby, but they're a lot more squat and a lot more grey-headed than those kind of honey-coloured ones.
Right.
I've only seen one zoo in the country with the mid-Kalahari meerkats. It's Hamerton Zoo in Cambridgeshire.
Are they the same sort of size as well, height-wise?
Yeah, they're the same length, but they're noticeably skinnier. So I came back here thinking, if we overfeed our meerkats? No. They're just generally skinnier.
This one's getting older.
Yeah, I know. He's a lucky one.
They're quite strong as well, aren't
They
they?
are very strong, yeah. They would forage for 5 to 8 hours a day naturally. So lunch is very much who's hungry. So they don't want anything. They're fine. They don't have to.
I wanted to put it in my hand. Look, baby. Can you recognize who is who? Do they have names?
They have like a special markings as well that allows them to...
Yes, and yes.
Okay.
You can't recognise all of them because there's not enough to work with. But once you get your eye in, you do start to notice a few differences. So things like coat and stripe pattern, the shape of their faces. Some of them have really... again, I want to be polite. Some of them have very Roman noses. Like they don't, their snouts don't go in as much as the others. They just kind of stick straight out. Whereas some of them have much more pronounced brow ridges. You can tell the younger ones from the older ones by the grey hairs. So like in humans, as meerkats get older, they get a bit larger and they get grey hairs. So this meerkat here is a lot younger than this one here. Grey on the head. Now, we unfortunately just lost the meerkat who was the most distinctive visually. He was the dad meerkat, Monty.
Oh, that was my one.
I'm sorry,
I'm
Montgomery
just
passed
scared.
away. I'm sorry.
Oh,
he passed away in May. But he was a bit like this meerkat here. He had much darker stripes than the others and a greyer head, but really soft. So he was easy to tell apart. He was always the example I used. We've also got their behaviour you can work with. So say Wolfie, you can guarantee it's going to be him. And that one who was pulling down your mask is called Luke. He's taken to doing that. It's not very helpful. So you get a mix of personalities and a mix of coat. Jamie is the youngest one, so he's this one here. He's the one with the least grey.
Okay.
So even in the time that he's been around, he's getting greyer and greyer, so it's going to be harder to tell him once he gets a bit older.
Whoa!
They're all microchipped as well. I mean, I bring a microchip reader in every time I do a meet the meerkat. In fact, I'm gonna
Sorry, they all gone.
I mean, they obviously all come and sort of like eat as much as they can. How do you sort of make sure that they're all going to get a similar sort of amount of food?
Good question. So we weigh out their own worms. Sorry, I say good question. Not to patronise you, I've worked with kids a lot. I mean it genuinely. For all of you asking good questions. Yeah, it is a good question. We weigh out the mealworms. They're the really calorific things. So because they forage for so long in the day, we want to split up their food to give them plenty of stimulation. But if we gave them mealworms all day, they would just balloon. Because having
so much protein. And
yes. Having a desert instinct, like they just want to eat. If they have food, they want to eat it now because they don't know when they're going to get food again. So they'll just eat and eat and eat. Yeah. So the veg is not necessarily naturally a very big part of their diet, but it's basically empty of calories. So it's a good way of stretching out their food throughout the day without them actually like gaining too much weight from it. So they are omnivores, but they mostly kind of, they get all their energy content from insects. So we give them lots of veg for their lunch, and then for breakfast they get a cereal that's made of insects, essentially. Oh. And then for dinner they either get some more insects or they get some meat. So they get half a mouse.
Oh my goodness. God, look at their grunting noises. God, they do have some little sharp teeth, don't they?
Very nice.
Their teeth are...
Yeah, they're quite scary. So when people are scared of their claws, they're the ones they actually use for offence. The things, the body parts they actually use for attack are going to be their teeth. They don't bite the hand that feeds them, which is nice. I always like using that expression. But yeah, if they really want to fight, they can be quite a vicious species to each other, meerkats. They're the most murderous of 1,024 different species that are in one study.
Wow.
I assume that's proportionate, obviously because there's more humans in general, but they kill more of their own kind proportionately than humans do. Even.
Wow.
and it's all from one mob, one family clashing with another. 'Cause
Oh
if you
yeah, I remember.
You see, if you live in a desert, you don't.
The resources are so scarce,
Yeah,
aren't
Exactly.
they?
You've got to keep your territory if it's a decent one.
Yes,
They won't want to fight. You know, they'll kind of stand up on their hind legs and stick their tails up in the air and wave them and try and make a big show of their strength and size. But if they do fight, they will kind of fight to the death and be very, very vicious creatures. But it does make sense. You know,
Trying to me with my leg.
not to compare animal behaviour to human behaviour, but historically, you know, if you think about
sometimes
cultures,
human behaviour is worse than animal behaviour. Like,
well, true.
so
Puts me in mind of like historical shows where people that live in harsh environments have harsher cultures. You know, they live in such a difficult place, the Kalahari, that they do have to be quite vicious and self-centered almost. You know.
Yeah, they have to be protective of what they have.
It's like they're almost
The little
talking.
noises are just so cool.
So they've got about
This
4
one's got
different main noises. They've got the map that I mentioned before. They've got their kind of clappy feeding sound. They've got a mealworm noise, which is and they've got a kind of like chaffing sound they use when they're fighting. These they have best friend meerkats as well that they constantly chatter to as they forage, which is quite cute.
Are you missing out down there?
Obviously he's in the shade anyway. But
it looks like they've had enough.
Yeah, he seems happy. They'll come back for the mealworms, don't worry.
Yeah, I bet.
So they've got thin skin on their tummies, warming up quickly after a desert evening. But then when they get too hot, they flop down their tummies. They can't take any more heat. Sorry. So sometimes they forget to do it in the shade. So I'm glad he's actually remembered
No
to
more
do it
veggies?
in the shade.
No more veggies?
They get bored of the veg eventually.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some mealworms now. Who wants to hand feed the mealworms?
I'll give you some.
Yeah, okay,
Come
so
on,
I'm going to put
Ollie.
some on the floor first. We need a very flat hand for these because they get very excited.
Put your hand out, Ollie.
Just do a few.
Yeah, careful, very flat
They don't
hand.
last very long.
Yes, I know.
You said you weren't going to. Well done.
Well, I just thought I'd give it a go.
So we'll just do.
It was. They don't last long.
They
in
do
their
not
hand,
last long.
So
They disappear
that's
very
alright.
quickly. Just want to do a few rounds of these, as I say. Otherwise, they'll gain too much weight.
Oh my God! Look at you.
Hold off and diet for a thing. You see, they get very excited by these. We need to move them
they
to the
just go
vets or
manic for
anything.
them, don't they?
All we need is a few mealworms and they're putty.
You missed out.
Come over here.
Come on, Jamie, have some more.
Look.
Yeah, there's no escape for the mealworms, I'm afraid.
No. Occasionally people are like, oh, I'm going to name this one. I'm like, oh, please don't do that. They'll get attached to it. It's not going to be good.
Oh, they're just all so cutie.
Okay.
Look, here, look.
I know, yes.
It is weird. You kind of get used to it, and every so often you just kind of do it again. You're like, oh, actually, no, it's weird. Now, not to brag here, but I will say, these meerkats are officially famous. They were on the One Show for the Jubilee special.
Oh, okay.
Hi,
We started to watch the video earlier, yeah.
Excellent, well done. I'm trying to push it on everybody. So we have to quadruple the charge now because they're, actors.
Yeah.
And also these famous hands that were also on the One Show. Just saying. So,
Are they starting to show diva behaviour
Yeah,
then?
yeah,
Are they? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, to be fair, they wouldn't come in the other night, so here they are. They're royalty. now.
Celebrity, like, I'm too big now.
They were after the Red Arrows in the final montage, which is a nice place to be. It's very exciting.
God, it's better than feeding the squirrels. The squirrels tend to get me more. They haven't got me once.
Yeah, no, squirrels.
No, these are very
Yeah.
delicate, don't they?
I fed some
They-
squirrels as part of my, sounds weird, as part of my degree. It made sense at the time. And when I did that, one of them kept on nice and flat. And one of them hung on to my finger, flicking it around. I was like, get it off! It was like flying all over the place.
No!
It was so painful. I wouldn't want to flick it anywhere, but I could, just let go.
Oh no, it
Squirrels
hasn't happened that bad to me, I must say.
They're just so desperate to get them.
Oh look, he got stuck in between. Oh my God, you cutie. Oh, you are such a cutie. Oh my God, you so want to have them as pets, don't you? I mean, look at this.
People do actually have them as pets. They make terrible pets, though, I do have to say.
We've been watching the channel of a couple that has a couple of otters, and oh, they just look so cute.
Again, we really wouldn't recommend as a pet.
No, they are really so curious. You just need a lot of patience and.
A lot of time for them as well, guys.
And people will get just one of these animals. You know, when people come around the zoo, we get a mix of responses, particularly for animals like the serval or the tapir, and they say, "Oh, isn't he lonely?" You're like, no, that's a solitary animal. It only wants to be on its own. It doesn't want to be with anyone else. Meerkats, opposite end of the spectrum,
Yes.
so like super social.
Yeah.
They're
So when
pets.
someone in America with lots of money pays for a pet meerkat, like the animal is
No, they're
miserable.
lonely. They will
It needs-
suffer.
They live in groups up to 50. Like you need a lot more
No,
than that.
if I was ever to have anything like this, it would be like a
Why
whole
is it on
gang.
the camera?
It would be a whole gang. It wouldn't be just one. Oh, are you cute? Hello.
They're very food motivated, these guys. So we spend 15 minutes showing people how lovely they are, and then the second the food runs out, you know, they're just like, no.
Yeah, I know.
That's it,
Right.
yeah.
If we dare come in here without food, or say if they didn't come in the other night and we'd already given them their dinners, you can't just keep plying them with food all night. You know, they just need to
They
go to
wouldn't
bed.
be interested.
They would just like, we're not coming in. Like, we're out here. We're like, no, guys, you need to go to bed. And they're like, no. Like, what are you going to do for us? What are you going to give us?
Wet noses
they-
all over the camera.
And they don't fight with the other two.
Only, as I say, at feeding time, and it's
Feeding
them
time.
that's the aggressors. So they, if they were in here, Ellie and Lambert the mongooses would be like snapping at them, like because they think they're missing out on something. They don't eat veg, but they're still, you know.
So they come in and they share the enclosure, so they don't seem to be quite... Is it because they're used to them, or...?
Yeah, so the meerkats are quite used to this. They didn't used to all live together, but because they
Goodness
naturally
me.
cohabit in the Kalahari, we thought might as well keep it together and we built this new enclosure for maybe big enough for everyone. So they get on fine, but
They don't
they're
see
not...
them as a threat,
No, but
unless it's food.
yeah.
Yeah.
So unless they see them as competition when it's feeding time, but not as like a threat to them.
That one is liking something in my leg. It's trying to go and nibble my leg.
So we keep track of how well they get on with each other, but it is just feeding time.
Whoa!
Oh goodness.
So how often do they have like pups? They're not neutered here, I guess, are they?
No, but our dominant male and female are no longer with us, unfortunately.
Oh,
Normally
right,
what would
yeah.
happen is that a daughter would step up to become the dominant male.
Okay.
We have 8 natives at the moment. The most we've ever had was 27, apparently, a number of years ago, which is too many. So normally one of the daughters would step up. We've got 6 boys and 2 girls, and the girls don't seem interested in the leadership.
Oh, okay.
Really, they should be a very unstable group. because
Like,
someone...
it's the
very-
modern world, you know.
Well,
It's,
yeah.
why are they, you know, they get the opportunity and all of a sudden now we're not interested in leadership positions anymore.
There was
sorry.
no glass ceiling for them, so
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like a thing worth winning. Yeah, they. I don't know why. We have had other zoos inquire as to how they're stable, because really they should be kind of all freaking out and like leaderless. But they seem pretty fine. What you do with meerkat populations is you wind them down because it's such a strong control by the dominant pair.
Yeah.
No one else is allowed to breed. These are all brothers and sisters anyway, but they wouldn't stop them. So normally you wind them down, and then the dominant, you end up with just like one, if you like. Get them another mate, and then you start up again. So that's what we'll have to do with these guys eventually.
It's going for the camera.
It is going to go down, isn't
That's
it?
an apple, yeah. To be fair, they've been very resilient. Okay, we'll do one more set of mealworms. I think I'll be about on
That's
time. if That's
perfect.
all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, chair. Why are you not sharing?
Not too bad having the worm. Yeah.
They're not really worms. They're caterpillars, really. They're the babies of type of beetle. Does that make it better? It's a long shot.
At one point, I had quite a few in my hand, and they were tickling me.
They do tickle a little bit, yeah. We do have giant ones of these as well that they like even more, which are a bit bigger, but stick with the littler ones, they're easier to palate. Fantastic. Any other final questions about them?
Oh no. They're just so awesome. They really are.
They're really cute.
He's asking if you could keep one, but I'm guessing that's out of the question.
Certainly not. We count them in at night as well, just in case. Just your luck, you take a mongoose.
Thank you so much. It's really been amazing.
Yes, it really
That's
has
awesome,
been.
that's fine.
It has been
Thank you so
lovely.
much.
Pick up your bowls and do some goodbye strokes.
Bye bye.
reverse.
Meeting you.
The way out is the reverse of the way in, so I'm going to lead them over to that corner.
You're amazing.
He's going to make our way back to the door. Doesn't matter if the mongoose is coming now, but probably stay inside for a few more.
You're all amazing.
If you want to pick up your camera as well.
Yes, perfectly.
Oh, I was really looking forward to meeting Montgomery, but